my executive and I met with Deputy Minister Marius Fransman in his capacity as chairman of the ANC Western Cape. I informed the Deputy Minister of the Cape Board's role, including that of taking a political but non-partisan representation of the Western Cape Jewish community, and explained that in our role as deputies, we engaged with representatives of many different organizations and bodies, as well as various political parties, with the aim of furthering understanding and also identifying ways in which the Jewish community, as citizens of the Western Cape, can play a meaningful role.
I regard this evening's engagement as one of the more significant ones of this year. I hope, therefore, that today, in the manner in which we engage, we can emulate this giant and the ideals for which we lived for. Many of my comrades and compatriots have asked why we engage in a public meeting with this community, given its recent perceived adversarial opposition to our government and the ANC. The answer to this question includes that as the ANC and the government, we have to consult, communicate, and robustly discuss and debate directly with communities, because this is a constitutionally entrenched right of all citizens to public participation. Just because we have this difference of views does not mean we cannot find common ground on other equally important issues at a domestic level, nor eventually finding common ground in the future, even on these complex issues.
I have a particular straightforward question to take 1 minute. I represent a Professor Karabus who's in jail, or now on bail, in Abu Dhabi. We've written to the department, your department, on no less than 40 times. We've had help from the Canadian government, the British government, and the Australian government. The South African government has been wholly silent. Is there any value to having a South African passport?
We clearly see it as a value. We are helping. If people feel there is no value in the South African citizenship, that becomes a different discussion. We, for example, have, formally and informally, also, for example, have been approached by family members. We've, for example, sent out our particular mission, and also to give some form of support. Not, we do respect the independence of judiciary in other parts of the world. We do respect those things. And therefore, for example, we will be able to help in some instances and do some of the work in some of those areas, not, for example, the way, and not to overstep the boundary of the fact that it's a sovereign state with their own independence, etc. But I personally have been approached, and we've personally communicated that to that particular mission. But I think the deeper question that you pose about the value of a South African passport, I do think that as South African citizens, we would assume you are passionate about being South African as well, and therefore also not speak as a foreigner, but actually speak as a South African.
I think that for a community like this, the question of leaving Cyril Karabus apparently on his own in Dubai and saying that we respect the judiciary of the Emirates or whatever it is, as a result we have no view on how long his case could last. We have no view on him coming back to South Africa pending a lengthy process. We have no need to intervene, and we seem to intervene on his behalf and show ourselves as being very concerned about his circumstances. I think this is an area that at least a meeting like this would want to walk away with a feeling of some greater compassion, some greater enthusiasm. Let's just put all the stuff about, are you proud to be a South African citizen aside. The issue is about Karabus, it's not about one citizenship. So maybe if you just try and focus a little bit in your answer about what it is that the South African government is doing for him, how it can help, or whether it wants to help, or what it wants to do on the positive side, rather than looking at the negative side of it.
Not publicly pronounce itself around it, because at times that helps more, and you would have seen that we've been able to be successful in some of that. So on this particular case, what we've indicated indeed so, there are processes, there are some engagements. At times it is not how hard you come out publicly. At times that works essentially also against it, but it's how you use multi-pronged approaches. And I can say we've been engaged on some of these activities in a diplomatic environment linked up with our mission that side. But out of this discussion, I think what we can do, with the person that has posed the question, I think we can in fact just convene a particular engagement, not necessarily with myself, but the particular people in the desk itself, and try and facilitate a process.